like she has the thing over her mouth. It's creepy in my, I don't know, that's what I pictured. That's terrible. I shouldn't picture that. What's up, everyone? It is Wednesday. Today's Wednesday? No, today's Thursday evening. We're so glad to be with you. We have a full panel tonight, so we're excited. As always, we like to give a couple minutes just to get you situated and say hello. So please, let us know that you're here and where you're from. We always like to say hello. I see, well, she's probably not here, but will there be another one? I missed this one. It'll be recorded. You can watch it anytime. Hi, Jody from the UK. Where in the UK are you? Hope everyone is doing great tonight. As always, we're just taking a couple minutes for everybody to get in and situated. So please feel free to say hello. Let us know where you're from. I was actually going to start whistling just now. I'm glad I didn't.
I would have enjoyed it.
Does anybody else? I whistle and don't realize I'm whistling. I do it all the time.
I talk to myself.
All right, we got about 30 more seconds before we get started. Hope everyone is doing great tonight. It is Thursday night, July number 2. Hey, Melanie in Los Angeles. Oh, Melanie. Hey, Melanie. I just
LA.
Hooray, LA. Hello, Melanie.
Yeah.
So, yes, please say hi. Let us know that you're here. Let us know where you're from. And we will get started absolutely momentarily. This is the part where I pretend I'm really busy doing other things, but I'm not. I'm just playing with this press toy down below camera. Yeah, Jason Spielman from Florida. No, OCD Central and South Florida. Just kidding. That's not Spielman. I always get confused. Hi, and Tony in Australia. Is it morning in Australia or afternoon in Australia? Tony in Melbourne. We're looking forward to the conference too, Melanie. All right, it is a couple minutes after, so let's get started. My name is Ethan Smith. I'm the National Ambassador for the International OCD Foundation, which simply means it's morning. Awesome. I figured it was morning. Which simply means that I have OCD and like to talk about it an awful lot. We're just handling a quick tech thing. Tia, let us know if you can hear me. Can you hear me, Tia? Okay, we'll get Tia sorted out in a minute. She might have to pop out and pop back in. Tonight we have a town hall and local advocacy panel. Yeah, she's going to pop out, pop in. How to engage your community, affiliate community engagement town hall. So this is all about affiliates. What are affiliates? This is about advocacy and engagement, IOCDF relationship to the affiliate structure. We have lots of affiliate representatives with us today, also clinicians, lived experience, individuals with OCD, as well as Tia, who is currently offline, but will hopefully be back online, who is a representative and runs the affiliate at the International OCD Foundation. So thank you for joining us. We're here to answer all your questions, comments, and concerns regarding starting an affiliate, being an affiliate, what it's like, advocacy, grassroots, all the good stuff. As well as you can always ask any questions that you would like, and we're always happy to answer. Let me just get through some quick housekeeping stuff. This town hall is intended to serve as educational content. It is not intended to replace therapy. For treatment-related questions, please be sure to work with your local provider or contact a local clinician. The International OCD Foundation is not a crisis hotline and should not be used if you are in distress or feel unsafe. If you are in a crisis or ever feeling suicidal or unsafe, please go to your local emergency room, call 911, or call the Suicide Prevention Hotline at 800-273-8255, which you'll see just below us. As always, we like to be respectful and oh. Okay, that scared. Did everybody else's thing circle?
No, just yours.
Mine did.
Oh, am I back now?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I freaked out because everybody went black, and I was like, "Oh God!" Anyway, as always, we like to be respectful and kind of others. This is a public space. We are recording, but we like to create as safe a space as possible. so that we may have unfiltered and honest conversation to be able to support you, support us, support everyone. So thank you again for being here. For those of you that are just joining us, this is a town hall on local advocacy and affiliates, community engagement, basically just advocacy on every scale and level. We have some great people with you tonight. I'm not sure. Jess, let me know if Tia will be rejoining us or we're without Tia. So yes, with that in mind, let me introduce our panelists so we can get rolling here. So actually, if you wouldn't mind dropping the graphic, Jess, on the phone number, we'll get rolling so I can see. I wanted to see their names because I forgot who everybody was for a minute. So we'll start with just below me. Dr. Robin Zazio is the affiliate of OCD Sacramento. Dr. Zazio is she's the director of the Anxiety Treatment Center of Sacramento and Roseville, California, the Center of Depression and Treatment-Resistant Symptoms, the Compulsive Hoarding Center, and the Cognitive Behavioral Therapy Center. She's the host of the Dr. Robin Zazio Show on AM 1380 and Mental Health Matters on iHeartRadio. Dr. Zazio is the author of The Hoarder in You, How to Live a Happier, Healthier, and Uncluttered Life. She's the featured doctor on Hoarders, the Emmy-nominated A&E hit series. She hosts My Extreme Animal Phobia on Animal Planet Discovery Channel. She proudly serves the Scientific Advisory Board, Clinical Advisory Board, Speakers Bureau, BTTI faculty, CPC committee member, which is Conference Planning Committee of the International OCD Foundation, and is the president of OCD Sacramento Foundation. In other words, she has lots of free time. Hi, Robin. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Next but not least, we'd like to, let me find Marnie. So Dr. Marnie Jacobs, a first-time guest on our town hall. We're excited to have her. Is a licensed psychologist and owner of the Jacobs Center for Evidence-Based Treatment in Boca Raton, Florida, one of my old haunts, which specializes in the treatment of OCD, obsessive-compulsive spectrum disorders, anxiety disorders, and phobias. Dr. Jacob provides weekly and intensive treatment using cognitive behavioral therapy with exposure and response prevention for youth and adults with OCD and related disorders. Dr. Jacob has published over 45 journal articles, written several book chapters, and engaged in numerous presentations on OCD, anxiety, and related disorders. She is board certified in clinical child and adolescent psychology. She is actively involved in the OCD community, serving as president of the IOCDF affiliate, OCD Central and South Florida, and is past president of the POM chapter of the Florida Psychological Association. Thank you, Marnie, for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. I just got word in my ear that they're working on getting Tia back, so we will save her for last. Next, we have, you may know him, you may love him, we all love him and know him. It's Chris Tronston. Chris Tronston suffered with OCD and body dysmorphic disorder from a young age until receiving specialized treatment for both disorders. No longer under the control of the disorders, Chris now works in the mental health field, treating OCD and BDD sufferers at the Gateway Institute in Southern California. He earned his bachelor's degree in human development and psychology at California State University Long Beach, and earned a master's of science counseling at California State University Fullerton. In addition to being a treatment provider, Chris is also an advocate who has shared his story of recovery on the Montel Williams Show, Dr. Drew, Fox 5 San Diego, and speaking at the IOCDF annual conferences. Chris was the keynote speaker along with his amazing mother, Liz. I say that because she is amazing, at the 2011 IOCDF annual conference. In 2015, he won the IOCDF Hero Award for his advocacy in that year's annual conference. In addition, Chris is part of the IOCDF's BDD Special Interest Group and IOCDF Lead Ambassador, and currently serves as a vice president of OCD Southern California, an official affiliate of the International OCD Foundation. Truth be told, we couldn't get the president, so Chris is the next best. So
we're going through president changes, so we're switching.
Are you like interim president right now?
Yes, so I have all the power to do everything. No,
okay, good. We'll stick with that then. We don't feel as slighted now. Whoops, those are wrong buttons. We don't want to press those. Last but certainly not least, because maybe Tia will come up, we have a very new guest to the show. What am I talking about? Robin's I get into it a little bit. Micah Howe, we're very excited to have Micah. Micah Howe graduated from high school in 2008 at the top of his class with nothing but a promising future. However, when his OCD and comorbid hoarding disorder and depression became symptomatic shortly thereafter, he soon found himself unable to complete college or retain steady employment. After many years of disillusionment, Micah began to slowly gain traction in his life after several months of ERP therapy and in a partial hospitalization setting. Now he is passionate about advocating for those afflicted with mental health issues and is in the process of starting his own business and helping the IOCDF launch an affiliate chapter in Iowa. Micah, awesome. I love. I'm sure we can all comment, but I think that's an incredible journey. Those of us with OCD all share in that journey, but you turning your pain into your purpose, as we always talk about it, is amazing to hear, and especially so early on and taking on the affiliate. So we look forward to hearing from you what it's like starting and where you. But welcome.
Thanks.
In case Tia shows back up, because I don't want to interrupt the conversation that we'll be having. Clearly, she's a drama queen, but I'm going to get so yelled at for that. Anyway, Tia, who was previously with us, if you didn't see her before, she'll hopefully be joining us shortly. Tia is the senior operations manager. She's the senior. Tia is the senior. I shouldn't eat sugar before we do this. Is the senior operations manager at the IOCDF and works interdepartmentally to ensure the IOCDF is working efficiently and effectively to create a community of support among those affected by OCD and related disorder. She oversees 1 Million Steps for OCD Walk, an affiliate program at the foundation, and works operationally with the development department to expand and grow fundraising and initiatives in the programs department with the execution of events, including the annual OCD conference. She has served as the point person for the IOCD affiliates for the past 6 years, both in helping existing affiliates to develop programming, market their events, and fundraiser, but also help interested individuals establish official affiliates in states where the IOCDF does not currently have one. So Tia is a very, very appreciated member of the IOCDF staff, and we couldn't do, especially the affiliates, couldn't do what they do without her. So hopefully she will be joining us soon. If you're just joining us, welcome. This is a conversation on affiliates and grassroots advocacy. We're going to open up to Q&A as usual, maybe 20 or 30 minutes in. So feel free to load in your question or get that ready, and we'll get to it as soon as we can. But in the meantime, let's get to some conversation. So I'm going to start off with Robin, which is, I was going to throw this to Tia actually, but Robin, what exactly is an IOCDF affiliate?
So an affiliate is essentially an organization that's been created that is under the guise of the IOCDF, in which our main goal is to reach out to our local and surrounding communities by educating, by providing various program services, presentations, doing anything that we possibly can to raise awareness for OCD and other anxiety disorders. And, it's a really big job that we've all taken on. We all volunteer our time. We look for others in the community who can get on the board, who can support our mission. And, it's really about just recognizing that, one, the IOCDF cannot cover the whole entire country like they would like to. And so I think there's 26 or 27 affiliate offices now, Ethan, where we donate our time. And this town hall is really about reaching out to you guys to say, what can we do to serve your community, because that's what this is all about.
Thank you, Robin. Absolutely. I couldn't agree with you more. Hi, Tia.
Hello.
Yeah.
She's back.
I was your stand-in.
Oh, good.
Yeah, actually, Tia,
for me.
I already read your bio, so we're all well acquainted with you. I did call you a drama queen. But other than that, I just asked Robin if you had anything to add. I was actually asking just to quickly define what an IOCDF affiliate is. I think she did a great job of answering the questions. I just realized you don't know what she said, so you probably can't add on to it. Mm-hmm. So that was a great answer, Robin.
Yeah, I'm sure it was perfect. Robin's been doing it for years.
How many affiliates do we currently have?
Something like 23 official, with 2 or 3 in the process of getting up and running.
Okay, very, very cool.
It can sometimes take a little bit based on the state, so it's a moving process.
Chris, talk a little bit about your involvement in OCD SoCal, why you chose to get involved, and what you've been able to do on a grassroots level locally, compared to sort of your national role as an advocate.
Yeah, so we had 2 people in San Diego start the OCD SoCal affiliate, and they were taking it on for years, and they were at a point in their lives where they felt like they couldn't take it on. And then Barbara Van Oppen and myself kind of took it over, she as president, myself as vice president. And the reason I wanted to get involved is because, like you, Ethan, you have lived experience, you've gone through it. When I went through my treatment, there was really not many local resources. My little nephew has autism, and there's so many events and celebrities and people coming out, and there's so many resources. And although the IOCDF does a great job, they're out in Boston, the other side of the country. And so there's just a lot of people that didn't have local resources, or I think even bigger, like a community component. And that's sort of been my major role as vice president of OCD SoCal, is really having that community aspect. So most of our events that we've thrown, there's always a community component. I know we had Dr. Jenny Yip on your show yesterday. She had a great idea one year about OCD Awareness Week, throwing kind of like a carnival and having like bounce houses and water balloon tosses and education. And, just to see hundreds of people coming out and interacting with other people who have OCD and having that community component. I think the greatest reward is seeing like 2 10-year-olds going through OCD treatment, becoming friends and getting face painted and stuff like that. I think it's great. To answer the last part of your question, we have such a different we have kind of different categories. We focus on educational events. So we have, many of us are clinicians, and with lived experience, we go out into the community. We speak at counseling centers that don't have OCD treatment there, just to kind of educate the clinicians there. We go to hospitals, we go to schools and educate them on OCD. We join other mental health organizations events because many of them don't have OCD representation. So we kind of take that over, and we go to different community events and showcase like OCD and resources. And then we also have the community events, so such as the carnival, like I spoke with before. Any of the events the IOCDF is putting on nationally, we have a local version of that. And then finally, one of the big things that we've been happy about having is we have an OCD conference each year. It's usually in March. We've gotten about 500 attendees, which is awesome numbers in the SoCal area. And there we've kind of mimicked after your guys' conference, the IOCD conference. So we have keynotes, we have breakouts, we showcase OCD media, we have booths, we have resources. We also have a community component. So we'll have an opportunity drawing, and we'll have a kids room and stuff like that. So really, just like Robin had said, is trying to give what the IOCDF has been able to do internationally. We bring that to the SoCal area and have people build a community and have local resources. It's something that I'm sure, Ethan, you can agree, wasn't really around 15 years ago or so.
Absolutely. And what I also love, and I think Tia can attest to it, is that as much as like you try to represent the IOCDF on a local level, there's so many things that you guys do that we look at the IOCDF and go, wow, that's a great idea. That's something that we can use to either do it nationally or use a strategy. For instance, for those of you watching and all of us on the panel, we know we've been really engaged in this OCD campaign and how to address people that are misusing the term OCD either as an adjective or stigma. And Chris, we know at OCD SoCal, you guys have done a ton of work with addressing that locally in the community. So we've been able to turn to you for advice and things like that when we're looking at, like, you've had mom and pop shops change their names. They were originally OCD or advertising or things like that. So I love that it really is a symbiotic relationship, and we can share from each other and learn from each other and grow from each other.
Yeah, if I could add to that real quick, we had a great member. I mean, we've been doing that on the OCD SoCal level, but we had a great member who joins our events, but he really enjoyed a beer company. He's vegan, and it was the largest vegan beer company. And their whole website talked about how they have an OCD process, and they're so methodical, and they were misusing it up and down their website. And it's the largest vegan beer company in all of the United States. And we, along with him, reached out to them directly. They were so grateful. They changed their whole website, their whole branding. And I think it's so important because there's so many people that live in stigma and shame, and to just have companies misuse it can add to that. So being able to go on a local level, have OCD cleaning companies and stuff change their names. It's not that we're trying to nitpick the community. We're just letting them educate what it properly is. And a lot of them, we don't threaten or anything. A lot of them are actually happy that we come to them and choose to change it themselves and actually thank us for that process. So that's something that we find valuable at our affiliate for sure.
I'm sitting here going, what's in beer that isn't vegan? But we'll talk about that another time.
I didn't know either, but they sent us cases as a thank you. So,
all right, let's hope that's what makes a mistake. So Marnie, I'll turn to you. Number one, because Linda King says many thanks to Marnie for leading the OCD CSFL. I know Chris lived experience, probably more like Robin. You're a busy clinician. Why was it important for you to get involved in the local affiliate in your area? And what are some exciting things that you're doing right now?
Sure. so it's always just kind of in my personality to want to be involved and find a shared purpose with other people. And, you know, I'd had a wonderful experience just having the opportunity to work with a lot of different clinicians and treatment centers throughout the state. And, you know, that was one of the ways, just by moving from being more central and more north to south, I thought that would be a great way to just continue my connections with them. I think dissemination is really important, and just, you know, working together, because a lot of people are not aware of the resources that the IOCDF has. They're not, you know, educated on what OCD is. And so I really think that, you know, with our knowledge and the team approach that we all have, we can really do a lot of good. We started our affiliate in 2015. So initially there was some growth and kind of getting some momentum going, but, you know, we've grown a ton in the last couple of years. And we do an annual conference during OCD Awareness Week in October. So that's probably our biggest event. And like Chris was saying, we try to have at our conference a community portion, and then also a continuing education portion, so that we attract clinicians and people who are looking to get more well-trained in OCD treatment, and then also have different things for the community, whether it's support groups or speakers, videos. So we do a lot of different things like that, raffles, always have lots of food, since that's an attraction for a lot of people. We try to do a couple of other CE events throughout the state. This was our first year that we were going to actually be doing the OCD Million Steps Walk. Unfortunately, because of COVID, we were not doing it, but we were looking forward to that. And we've also just been trying to put on more social events just to connect people, have that sense of community, because we don't want it all to be clinician-focused training. So as much as we can do to get affected individuals in the same room and connect parents and kids, that's something that has been an effort for us lately. It's something that's important.
Thank you, Marnie. Micah, I'm coming right to you. I don't want you to think I'm forgetting about you. Tia, I'm going to use Tia to Tia you up. That was terrible. So Tia, I know I'm embarrassed too for myself. You know, this will lead us into Micah, but in terms of the IOCDF's relationship to their affiliates, what does the IOCDF offer an affiliate when somebody comes to you and says, I want to start an affiliate? What is that process like? What kind of resources do you give them, or can you offer them? Just take us through that process a little bit, and then I'll turn to Micah, who's doing that right now. So.
Yeah, absolutely. So IOCDF affiliates are actually independent nonprofits. So sometimes when people think that's the first thing you got to do right off the bat, which is actually not the fun part about running an affiliate, is that they are independent nonprofits in the eyes of the IRS. So that is sometimes a very daunting task. And so someone comes and says, I want to start an affiliate. And that's one of the first things we discuss, and that it's getting your EIN number, which is becoming incorporated in bylaws. And it can be a very kind of daunting task, especially based on which state you're in. Some states have extra steps you have to take. But that's where the team and I can help, find the resources, find pro bono work that can help do this for you. There are a lot of large law firms that need to do pro bono work, and you reach out to them saying, hey, do you want to fill your pro bono hours helping me get a nonprofit set up? And they're looking for that kind of opportunity. So the IOCDF helps find those connections for you, so you're not feeling stranded in this process. Once you get that set up, as you noticed, all the IOCDF affiliates have kind of a suite of websites that all look very similar. Our team will help you guys get set up. You're not there alone with that either. Getting you affiliates set up on domains and social media, sharing that the affiliate is there with our community, making sure everyone in that state knows, look, they're here now, getting that following, that kickstart going. And then in terms of programming, I think that one of the biggest things we have is every OCD Awareness Week, we have a grant program where an affiliate, if they want to, they've had an idea for an event that they want to do, or it's their first time kind of thinking about programming, whether it's a conference like OCD SoCal does, or some people do case consultations. book clubs, anything. And some people just want to do, how do I organize a meetup that's kind of unstructured, but that's almost the best thing. People are just looking for a place to gather. We have our grant program where affiliates can pitch a new idea and let us know whether they need money to do it, or they need programmatic help, or it's marketing. We have everything done, but no one knows about it. That's where the ICDF can step in and kind of shine a light on your event, help bring it programmatically to a higher level, or just with the funding, that it's just, we got everyone, we got the personnel, we got the venue, it's just we need kind of that capital. And so that back and forth communication is always there throughout the year. I just think OCD Awareness Week is really where we all kind of come together, and that's why you see the calendar full of events, half of which are run by affiliates.
Thank you, Tia. And quickly, just to follow up, I forgot. Sorry, your bio said 5 or 6 years with the affiliates. How have you seen the program grow since you've sort of been in charge of it? Is it exciting?
Yeah, it's great. There have been, I think technology has made a huge change. I think that when I started, a few affiliates had websites, and they kind of were just floating on their own. One of the big things we did was create the template and get every affiliate on a website. And then since then, social media, and just with the IOCDF National kind of leading the helm, getting everybody to follow us, and then pushing down to the affiliates and letting our followers know that these guys are out there. It's just been kind of passing off that marketing and passing off that knowledge has just to let the affiliates run with it. And so just the knowledge that affiliates are out there, I've seen grow. We have the affiliate meeting at the conference every year. And I think I've seen affiliates used to work kind of in silo. You know, one does one thing, one does the other thing, and everyone's talking to me about it. But I think that the communication amongst affiliates and helping each other get, oh, you've been doing this program for a while. What pitfalls have you hit? Can you help me troubleshoot? We're thinking about doing the same thing. And I kind of sit back and let the groups help each other, because I'm just here to facilitate that communication. And so I think that communication between everybody, where an affiliate that's been around for 20 years can lend a helping hand and let me know things that I wouldn't have known about, say, like the pro bono law work. I didn't know that was a thing until one affiliate said, we got everything done for free. And so now I can add that, forward that on to the next group and make sure everyone knows this, right? This is a resource. And so I think that it's been really great to see kind of that collaboration blossom over time. So really great.
That's awesome. Thank you, Tia. I'm so excited to talk to Micah, and for a couple of reasons. I think, and Chris can attest as advocates and lived experience advocates, in that so many times we get emails and questions about, I just want to get involved. I want to get started. How can I do it? And Micah, I don't know a ton about your story other than what I just read, but what's super exciting is we always see some people kind of instead of asking, what can I do? Just like, this is what I want to do. Can you help me do it? And that's such a huge way to advocate. So I would love to hear a little bit about your story and why you decided to start an affiliate in Iowa, why that's important to you.
Yeah, sure. You know, for me, growing up in rural Iowa, I had just a nightmare of a journey, going from discovering what it even was I had, to then going through this wild goose chase to even discover what the appropriate treatment was. And, you know, I finally got some help and, you know, ran in, you know, to the best 3 letters, you know, that I've ever run into, ERP. Absolutely changed my life. I don't know where I would be without that therapy modality. But it took a long time to get there, in part because of lack of resources, in part because of a lot of unique rural stigmas. You know, you're dealing in some of these rural states like Iowa, not just with a lack of understanding about OCD, but a lack of trust in the mental health community in general. And so sometimes we're not even talking about OCD or ERP. We're just trying to get people, you know, maybe beyond some religious biases, that secular therapists are not to be trusted, for example. So I wanted to help launch an affiliate so that people that were walking down the road that I had to walk down hopefully we can make that road a lot shorter for them and get them in touch with some accurate information, before losing the time and the morale and the money, that me and my family had to. So that's the long and the short of what the desire and the drive was behind the affiliate.
How did you start? So did you just start by calling the IOCDF? Take us through a little bit of the process of how you began.
Sure. So the way I got connected with the IOCDF was I was real desperate. Back in 2016, I had gone to multiple therapists that said they could treat OCD and never threw out the phrase ERP. And I was just lost. I didn't know if there was an answer out there. So I came across the IOCDF and I found out they were having a conference in Boston. So I just told my dad, I said, Dad, I've got to fly out there. I've got to find some answers. Nothing is working. I'm not getting anywhere in life. We're spinning our wheels here. And, we got to take a shot at this. So I flew out there. Fortunately, we were in a financial position where we could do that. And it has been a process of finding out what OCD was. It's like that OCD conference in Boston, listening to the therapist, talking to other people. For the first time in my life, people were telling me what I was dealing with, and it made sense. So from there, I ended up in a partial program for several months that I learned about through that, and then over the years did well and decided, what, I want to be a part of this, and ended up going to more national conferences. And then when I really felt like I was in a place with my OCD where I could be helpful as an advocate, because, the desire to be an advocate, it was there for me long before I was actually well enough to do it. And so I had to manage that. But I ended up at the conference in Austin last year after emailing with Tia for a while, met her face to face, and some networking, some discussions, and we decided to get rolling, starting a website, and we're just kind of in the launching process at this point. But yeah, that's kind of a nutshell of a painstaking, 4 or 5 year journey.
I appreciate that, Mike, and kudos to everything that you're doing. On Saturday, we had some great guests. We were talking a lot about advocacy on a social platform. And I think this is great because this is talking about, in-person human connection. I realize things have gone virtual right now, but, this is talking about a different kind of action and a different kind of advocacy. So this is really, really, really great to talk about. We've got some great questions. So I kind of want to integrate questions into continued conversation. There's some international questions, which I'll throw to Tia, but just quickly, a lot of people are asking, how can I get involved with a local affiliate? So is it best to call your local affiliate if they have one, or touch base with the IOCDF first? Robin, what's a great way to get involved?
Well, gosh, there's so many different ways. I mean, I would definitely call the IOCDF, which is how most of us got started, and see what resources are available in your community. I think another really great resource is to call another affiliate office and to say, hey, what did you guys do? I mean, we're talking about it now, but ask how they got involved. And there's so many shortcuts that you can do based on the experience that we have had setting up our own affiliate office. And we have been blessed to have an attorney, for instance, that has been doing all of our work, set up the corporation, does all the filings, does everything pro bono. So it's there's people out there that want to help, and that service alone is so huge. As Tia mentioned, we're nonprofit. We're all donating our time, so our resources are based on donations and that sort of thing. So I'd say IOCDF, and definitely reach out to other affiliates and see if you can schedule a Zoom platform or whatever it is and talk to them about what have they learned. And I would reach out to not just one, but a couple, because you'll get so many different ideas and tricks to kind of shortcut it and make it a lot easier.
Marnie or Chris, do you have any other suggestions as well? Anything to tee off of that, Robin said?
Yeah, I would say, I think obviously it depends where you are in terms of if there is an affiliate that's in your region or not. For us, if people are interested in getting involved, I would definitely encourage you just to reach out to the affiliate directly. What we try to do is we always incorporate volunteers as much as possible into our events. So that's a really great way for people to get their feet wet and kind of get involved. And there's all different ways that people can be involved. It can be in person at events with helping, with the operations side. It could be being a presenter, being a speaker. So that's always an option. And then some people prefer to stay anonymous and maybe work behind the scenes. So that's definitely an option. So I think volunteering, and if it's something that is a good fit and people are really invested, then there's oftentimes opportunities to get involved to a larger degree as part of the board. So there's always, some turnover with that. And so I would just say, reach out to us, reach out to other affiliates. And I'm confident that people will be able to find a role for anyone who's interested in getting involved.
And I just wanted to add quickly, just like Marnie said about volunteers, but one thing we've been looking for at OCD SoCal is a lot of times people say, we want to volunteer, we want to help. And then we find out that they work in publicity and know how to write a press release, or we find out that they own a printing company and can help with that. So one thing that we're always trying to find is, if you don't feel like you're a speaker or you're somebody that wants to be on the board, maybe you can bring a talent from your own personal life and that can help us. And so we've had people that are good at organizing stuff, or people that are good at reaching local media outlets to come to our event. So that's something else that people can help. If they can't dedicate as much time, is there something they can bring? And like with Robin's affiliate, that's how we had our lawyer kind of come on pro bono and do everything for us. It was just somebody that wanted to give back. So that's the other way people can help as well.
I love that too, because it's sort of the real world example of like, I want to start a social media page, but not use my real name or not use a name or be, you don't have to be front and center and spotlight in order to advocate. There's so many ways to advocate and support. And that's a really, really neat way to do it. Tia, I'm going to turn to you in 1 second for some global questions, some international questions. But before I do, Melanie, also OCD Interrupted, wrote, I recently started talking about my OCD and hoarding disorders publicly to break stigmas and let people know there actually is treatment. I started facebook.com/OCD Interrupted in April. I want to be an OCD and hoarding advocate. How can I break in and support others? I'm helping by posting videos, but I'd love to help locally too. Generally want to get more involved. Probably we all, and thank you, Melanie, for writing that. I think that as advocates and clinicians, we hear a lot of this all the time. And I want to turn this over to some of you and get some thoughts. But what I'll say quickly, and I think this is just an overall, through multiple conversations with different advocates, what I'll say is that advocacy is a long game, and maybe Chris can agree or disagree, but advocacy is a long game. The desire to help and give back when you feel in a better place is insatiable. You want to do it, you have to do it, it's in your bones, and you want it now, and you want to save everyone. And I think we've all gone through that in our advocacy process, but then we hit what I call the advocacy shift, which is when you've then joined every Facebook group and you answered every email every day and you completely burn out because you can't possibly do it all. So I think that and also recognizing what advocacy is. It doesn't have to be appearing on the town hall, and that can all be everybody's goals. But you, Melanie, just writing that and saying what you want to do and how you want to do it and putting your Facebook page on there, that's advocacy. At the end of the day, it's one-on-one, changing people, changing relationships. So it's like having a little bit of patience in terms of looking at advocacy as a long game. And where you can grow and systematically work your way up to wherever it is you want to be really helps in that immediate desire to, I have to do it all and I have to do it now. I don't know, Chris, if you have any thoughts on that.
Yeah, it's going to be something I know you're the same way, Ethan. I've dedicated my life to advocacy. Obviously, being a clinician and a therapist is great. And we talked about doing advocacy on a social level is important as well. I think what's really, really important is this stuff, what we're talking about today, like actual ground game in our local community. And I think it's important to kind of define like what it is that you want your role to be. And yes, always, put on your mask before you help somebody else in an airplane. It's the same kind of thing. What I do like about an affiliate is I know we get emails all the time, and we don't only have one person answer, and we kind of spread them out, because it does create that burnout. If you're the person in the affiliate that's calling everybody back and emailing everybody back, it's like as soon as you send one, 10 more come. And so we've been able to spread that out and help. Lastly, what I wanted to say directly to Marnie, Melanie, I know she did say she's in LA earlier. If she wants to reach out to OCD SoCal, each year, one thing that we're looking for people in the LA community is we have events, because our area is so large. We have events in San Diego County, Orange County, and Los Angeles County, but we always need speakers. We always want to hear from lived experience in our conferences and our OCD Awareness Week events. So if that's something she's interested in doing, she can email us. We also on our website put out a call for speakers, and we want both clinicians and lived experience. So if that's something she directly wants to do for us on a local level, since she's in Los Angeles, we'd love that from her.
Thank you, Chris. Liz, Tia, Micah, Marnie, any other thoughts on advocacy and Melanie's comment about wanting to get involved?
I would just second what's already been said, just for emphasis, that it is a tough thing when you have vivid lived experience with OCD. That, like I said earlier, that urge to help often comes so quickly when you start to gain traction. And I would just say, really, whatever your situation is, play on the safe side. If you wait just a little longer than you think you might need to get stable in your own treatment before doing advocacy, that's certainly going to be better than overwhelming yourself with advocacy when you might not quite be ready.
Marnie or Robin or Tia?
I was just going to echo, I think, what Chris said a little bit. I always encourage people to just let me know or let our affiliate know what their ideas are and what role they want to play, because really we can make almost anything happen. So it doesn't have to be just the ideas that our affiliate has come up with. I think, just let us know what you're interested in doing, how involved you want to be, what advocacy would mean to you, and most likely we can come up with something to have you be involved.
Marnie, is to stick with you a sec, if you're just diving into advocacy for the first time or just getting involved, Melanie's starting to really want to make a name. She's emailed me a few times, which, by the way, is the right way to go. It takes time to get back to everybody, but we're there. I would say put yourself out there. Email people. Don't be afraid to reach out. You're in a safe space, especially with this community is absolutely incredible. It really is, and they never fail to amaze how inclusive they are and how supportive. But Marnie, why might an OCD affiliate be a great place to start in terms of if you're not sure what kind of advocacy you want to do, and maybe trying to get out on the national stage right away is a little scary? Why not? Why is an affiliate a good idea?
Yeah, I think it's just to a much smaller degree, and I think it also allows people to probably take a larger role earlier on than they might be able to take if they're involved in IOCDF nationally. So there's also the comfort zone of being in your community. So I think if people are familiar with resources in their community, or whether it be a venue where to hold something, those are really great skills and things just for us to use. So I think it's just a great place to get people's feet wet.
Yeah, I agree. Robin, do you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, there may not be, somebody might be listening and say, well, I don't have the time, I don't have the resources to set up my own affiliate office, but I'm really interested in getting involved. I think it's important to remember that anybody who's listening, you can be several counties over, you can even be in another state and volunteer to help an affiliate office. I mean, there's phone calls that can be made. There could be advocacy in terms of reaching out, making phone calls to organizations to bring awareness. I mean, there's so many things behind the scenes that people don't even realize that are happening. So, don't worry about where you live if there's not a local affiliate. We all need the help. And I'm 40 plus a week in terms of running my facility, and I know I definitely can't do it on my own. And Chris, man, you're preaching to the choir when you were talking about, there's just a tendency, you get the email, you just respond, somebody calls, you just respond. But it's exhausting and you get burned out. And so we so desperately need help. I think I'm saying it. We need help. So the more that people are interested, please find one that's closest to you, or if not, we can definitely use the support from afar.
And I'm gonna actually segue onto that in 1 second to virtual, which is obviously what's happening. But before I do, I want to integrate some questions. So Tia, Jess, I'm actually gonna just group a bunch of questions, and Tia, if you need reminding, please don't hesitate to let me know. So Marion asks, I think Canada is listed on the IOCD. Oh, sorry, she had a question. Wait, sorry, I apologize. I'm doing terrible at this. Okay, Jennifer asks, are there any IOCDF affiliates in Canada, or is advocacy done through a different organization?
Affiliates are within the U.S., just terminology-wise. Global partners is what we call our partnerships from countries outside the U.S. Canada's very much in the middle there, just because we're so close. We do work with we work with groups. I know there's an Alberta Obsessive Compulsive Foundation, Disorder Foundation, that does a lot of work. And there have been some in the past. I think we've helped to kind of get them set up because of just being international. It's a little different just because there are financial support that go back and forth that can happen across. But typically, if someone reaches out and they say, I want to help start a global partner, or I want to do something in my country, we can give them as much support and give them some information on becoming an NGO. But it's usually typically when a foundation is already formed that we create this partnership. But I do know that there is the Alberta group. And then I saw also there was questions about UK. We've worked a lot with OCD UK and then OCD Action, our two big groups that have pretty big presence in United Kingdom, and who do their own walk where they separately walk around, and we've kind of ping pong back and forth, sharing that visibility.
And I know we get a lot of questions from all over the world about starting support or advocacy in those areas, and we're definitely open to supporting. Marion asked specifically, Tia, in New Zealand, she's interested in how to grow OCD support and advocacy. Could she maybe touch base regarding global partners?
Yeah, absolutely. I think a lot of times, just because it is so different, we suggest, most global partners that I've seen grown, especially Hong Kong is a good example, has started as just a support group. And same with Japan. OCD Japan was a small group that started more as a support group. And then they did use the walk, actually did a community walk a few years ago. And that has turned into more structured events. And then on their side, getting it, legally represented. And then they become kind of an entity. But we'll help start that, like, here are some tangible activities that you can get going in your area, and then from there help just navigate the world of getting it set up, just because it's so different from country to country. But yeah, it definitely can help get things
Thank
going.
you, Tia. And I think at the end of the day, and I'd love everybody's input, at the end of the day, is there really a wrong way to do this? At the end of the day, this all comes from, like, Micah's the perfect example. There was a need, I had a desire, I don't want people to go through the same thing I did, so I'm going to call and figure out what we need to do here. And I guess that's the thing, is there's not really a perfect or right way to do it. It's just putting yourself out there and creating an opportunity where there perhaps wasn't one. I don't know. To follow up on Marion asked the second question, and I think this was where I was getting at. At 7:38 p.m., Marion asked, do affiliates tend to grow out of smaller informal support groups? How does the initial momentum gather? And I think maybe, Marion, I don't know if you were already on when Micah spoke to how and why he's starting the Iowa affiliate. But the reality of it is, I think it can grow from any seed, really, that's starting. Does anybody have thoughts on, has it started? This could go out to anyone. Has there been a pattern for how it starts? Has there been a support groups in various states, and then something like, we should do something bigger? Or is the more the norm Micah's story, where there's a need and we're just going to go and build an affiliate?
I think the IOCDF was started as a support group, which is something to remember. At Yale, it was a group of people who came together because they were in a study, and then realized this is very helpful. Let's build a system around this. And that's so the affiliates are built off that model. I think a lot of times it is an individual who has said, I'm interested. Can you let me know how that goes? And then in the next 6 months, they're working on it. And then I'll get an email from another individual. And I said, actually, I have someone over here. Can I connect you? Yes, please. And then a third one. And all of a sudden, I've now gathered, like, they've already done this many things. They need help with this. Let's get you in touch. And I just see those kind of email threads grow and grow and watch it happen. So a lot of times, just if you reach out and you think you're alone wanting to do this, very much not true. And that's why we'll put in the newsletter and on our local affiliates webpage, like, there is one forming in the state. If you're interested, please email us. So I would encourage anybody to go look at that page right now and see which ones are forming. And if you're in that state and you didn't even know. So yeah.
And thank you, Tia. And Micah, to reiterate, like, just to give a little bit more insight, when you saw a need, did you really know what you were doing, or did you just know that you need to do it?
So I knew that I had skills to offer. That's about the extent of it. I knew there was a need, and I knew that I had some skills to offer, some experiences that people could benefit from. But look, to anyone who's watching, try not to psych yourself out with this idea that I can't approach the IOCDF or an affiliate till I have this really developed plan. And if I don't have this really intricate plan, someone's gonna, slap me on the hand. It's not like that at all. I mean, if you have a desire, reach out with that desire. If you're in the Midwest, you can get a hold of me at info@ocdiowa.org, or if you're in Iowa. And just throwing ideas is a great start. Getting in contact with an affiliate, expressing your level of interest. I know there are multiple things that I've done with the IOCDF that started in email threads and grew into an idea that benefited people. So I think really the biggest step is reaching out and, waving a hand and saying, hey, I'm here. I want to help. I want to do this, or I don't know what I want to do, but what sorts of things do you need? Great way to start. And there's not going to be anyone in an affiliate that isn't going to appreciate that kind of initiative.
I love that, Mike. And sometimes you have to do it. Go ahead, Chris.
I was just going to add real quick. I mean, for us, a clinician had started OCD SoCal, and then it sort of had dropped off for years. It was my mom and I. I mean, really, it was just my mom and I deciding that we wanted to kind of take it over and see what we could do. And then we were fortunate enough to pair up with Barbara Van Noppen, who had a very connection with all the different clinicians in Southern California. And now our board has parents of people with OCD, psychiatrists, psychologists. And so, my mom and I remember sitting there like, how are we going to do this? But just like Micah was saying, it's like, if you have a way and you have the desire and the drive, Tia has been incredible at the IOCDF. The IOCDF has been incredible. My mom and I could have never done it without them. So it was just kind of like our tenacity and our feet on the ground in the community that we knew. And then when we kind of linked up with Barbara, I became a clinician. I was starting to get other clinicians in Orange County. We have a great mom down in San Diego who is spearheading everything down there, Patricia. We had another great person, Jenny from San Diego, but she was taken from us by McLean. So we want her back in California. But long story short, it was just my mom and I. So I think the biggest thing I hear from people is they think they have to be this world-renowned doctor to start an affiliate. It's really not the case most of the time.
And like Micah said, initiative. I know Melanie, now I feel a little guilty because Melanie's emailed me twice and I just got back to her. And I will say, like, we definitely do. Okay, I'm going to assuage a little bit of my guilt. I think we do the best we can. We get pretty busy and bogged down with emails. But like I always see, don't be afraid to email multiple times, because what ends up happening is, like, we'll be in a meeting or we'll be talking about an advocacy event, and Tia or whoever will throw out like, hey, who do you think? And I'll be like, wait a second, I've been getting 9 emails from this person. They really want to be involved. So it's okay to be aggressive in this and really, like, stand out. And I'm now going to email Melanie more than I have already. OCD Interrupted, check it out on Facebook. Okay, anyway, before I move on, I don't know, Marnie or Robin, did you have any additional thoughts or comments to what we were talking about?
I would also just say, I would echo the helpfulness and the resources that the IOCDF provides in creating the nonprofit OCD Central South Florida. There's templates beyond templates, and we have an affiliate listserv. So we really don't have to reinvent the wheel. And I think that that's really helpful because a lot of us aren't, educated on law to the extent of necessary to create a nonprofit. So there's just so many resources that are available. So try to not be intimidated by something that may sound big and scary, because it's really not.
Thank you, Marnie. Go ahead, Robin.
I mean, I think the only thing that I would say is really just to kind of piggyback on, it can feel like a really daunting task to either set up an affiliate or even to just do advocate. But, everything comes from a seed, and any little thing that you do for advocacy, it makes a difference. And, the reality is we're fighting a really big battle in that anxiety disorders are representing the largest mental health population in the United States. And we just have to keep reaching out. We need to keep doing these town halls. We need to keep.
One moment in time. Robin will probably pop back in 1 second. It tends to happen. We like to go with uncertainty here and remain flexible, so we'll keep going. Robin, if you hear us, come back to us. So yes, and quickly, what Robin's hinting at is there's obviously multiple ways to advocate, and here we want to focus on affiliates and grassroots. But if you just go to IOCDF.org or peaceofmind.org or really any of the affiliate websites, there's multiple ways you can get involved, whether it's the OCD Bigot program. We have the ambassador program, which I know people ask about all the time, and it's a process to get involved. But we have you become a member. We have a ton of initiatives going on right now. Blogs, you can submit blogs, newsletters. We have Face Your Fears. We have Faces of OCD going on. We have a bunch of different initiatives. So you can definitely send an email to info@iocdf.org, and we can definitely get you connected and see how we can get you involved. So definitely teeing off to what Robin said. So I'm curious, Chris, let's talk about virtual. How's the old affiliate business going now that there's virtual? Because Robin touched on this idea of like you may not be nearby, but we could use your help. Is affiliate sort of changing right now to where maybe you don't need to be in California, but if you want to give back to the California affiliate, is that now a possibility?
Yeah, I was going to say one thing that I haven't mentioned yet is on our website, we have a good true stories, real stories component. So we absolutely would love people to submit their stories. I know the IOCDF has it and has a great process of that too, but on our website as well, you can do that. And yes, you don't have to be in California to submit that. I know at OCD SoCal, we're having a big meeting actually next weekend about transferring over to virtual, because we had secured a October date this year for our conference, since obviously March we couldn't. And then we just heard back from the location that they're kind of shutting everything down to 2021. And to be safe, I think we're going to not look for a new place in the end of this year. But we've switched a lot of stuff to virtual. So that's what we're kind of focusing on at our conversation next weekend is, do we want to do something similar to the IOCDF and offer some of the stuff that we had planned in October, but virtual? We want to do a town hall with all of our board members, probably in after the conference in August. What's good about it is people that could not show up to our events in person, couldn't show up to our meetings in person. It gives them an opportunity to do more advocacy from home. So it's allowing that component as well. But just like Robin was hinting at, we cover a huge space in California. We're all the way up to Bakersfield, out to Coachella Valley, down to almost the border of San Diego and Mexico. So that's the other thing is we'll have a lot of stuff that might be too far away. So virtual allows, like Robin hinted at, so many people to get involved from their own home if they just don't have the time and resources. And then our affiliate, that's what we're focusing on next weekend. Just like the IOCDF has done a great transition to providing resources on the national and international level virtually, that's what we're going to be focusing on a local level. But definitely we've noticed that because we've gone virtual that people that were unable to volunteer in the past, we've reached back out and people are like, yes, now I can help virtual because I am about an hour or 2 hours away from an event, and this would be a great way.
Thank you, Chris. That's Sorry, I got a text, got sidetracked. But yes, thank you. Marnie, same. How are things evolving now that more and more is going virtual for you?
Yeah, so I think we've also really tried to follow in the footsteps of IOCDF a good bit. We had a bunch of events planned, March, April, July, that unfortunately we had to cancel all of them because of COVID. Ethan, you were one of those. We're going to have you speak in Florida. So what we've done is we've up to date done, I think, 3 virtual events. So one of them was a virtual event where we had one of the Florida IOCDF ambassadors, Kyle King, and 2 of the kids from Unstuck, an OCD Kids movie, in a little bit of a town hall, which was really focused on them discussing their experience and answering questions. That had a great response. And obviously we wouldn't have been able to have all of them participate since they're all across the country. And I think that was great. We also did something called Don't Touch Your Face, which is a little bit of a play on how you're not supposed to touch your face during the coronavirus. And that focused on body focus repetitive behaviors. So we've been trying to do at least a couple of events that way. We decided that our October OCD Awareness Week event is going to be virtual just because it's hard to plan with venues a couple months away given the restrictions. So we're learning, we're doing our best, but so far I think we've had a really good outreach.
Thank you, Marnie. Robin, how are things looking for you in terms of transitioning virtual and programming?
So in December of 2018, we moved into a very, very large building that really supported social distancing. And so the biggest part of our program, I would say, is our IOP. And so we have all of our patients, when they come in the building, they all go into a private treatment room where they sign into Zoom platform. And then they work individually with their therapist, and we have masks, we have social distancing, we have all of that. But of course, there are people who are not comfortable coming in, and so we have supported, the telehealth. But we fared very well, and we're really fortunate. And it's been an interesting time because with people staying at home, they're recognizing this is a really good opportunity to get treatment because so many people say, well, I have to work or I have school. So it's been really great seeing that people are working to take care of their mental health because it has been a really difficult time for people, as we all know.
And what about the affiliate? In terms of your affiliate, what do you have plans virtually moving forward, expanding? What kind of programming are you thinking about in terms of virtual?
So that kind of segues into the major transition that we had with regard to trying to navigate, treatment for our patients. And so we have not been able to do as much as we wanted to in terms of the affiliates because the majority of our board is providers. And so providers are trying to navigate it. We've been trying to navigate it. So, the walk was canceled. As Marnie said, some of the other programs that we had, slated to come up this year have been indefinitely canceled. And so that's why I really wanted to do this because I'm sort of making that appeal to say, hey, if you want to get involved, reach out because right now we're really needing some help to be able to make that transition.
Thank you, Robin. God, I have so many great questions for you guys. Quickly, Nikki Bradley, I'm going to call her out for a second because she's on all the streams. She lives in Ireland. I really want to meet her in person. At 7:55 p.m., she wrote, I do as much as I can, but as I explained the other day, ironically, my OCD gets in the way. I am very involved in the support group over here. I think there's a few things to glean from this, and I wanted to call you out, Nikki, and I love you, and I can't wait to go over there and have a warm beer with you. No, I think they drink them more in Ireland. That's what I've heard. I don't even drink, but I'll start drinking just to go over there and hang out with her. There's a couple things, and I think the first thing, and Chris and I can attest, and Micah as well, is that the advocacy process is is, we have to work with the advocacy process with our OCD and other mental health conditions. And it's not just like the process of getting better. It's not a straight line. It's a bumpy road. And some days some days are better than other days. And sometimes we have to take care of ourselves and take a step back. And I think that just like life, there's ups and downs. And so we have to be like compassionate and grant ourselves grace for those times. And I know for our advocacy, like being transparent during those times is actually really beneficial and really therapeutic and cathartic. And also the amount of support that we get from the communities when we are transparent, when I'll go and do a live stream and say, I really struggled last week. My last Just Ethan talked about like a dog attack that attacked me and really triggered me in a bunch of ways and stuff. So I think that it's totally okay that OCD can get in the way sometimes, and just being compassionate about that. And I'll let Chris and anybody else Micah weigh in on this. Just some quick thoughts. The other thing I would say is like pat yourself on the back for the things that you are doing. We're such black and white thinkers. That's what we do. We're good at that. And I hear like you're really involved in a support group. That's awesome. And that's a huge step for advocacy, not only advocating for yourself, but advocating for other people. And that's the thing. You tell one story, you listen to one person, you're making a difference in one life, and that's really what it's about. And so, like, you may have larger aspirations, and those will come with time and treatment and all that stuff. But in the meantime, definitely pat yourself on the back for the wins that you're experiencing. Being very involved in a support group is a huge, huge win. And I think that's huge. Chris or Micah, do you have any thoughts for Nikki?
Do you want to go, Micah, and then I can go? Okay.
Oh, no, it's catchy.
A lot of people on the stream.
Yeah, it's going around. It's going around.
I'll say, you know what, Nikki, I get that. And I think that's the biggest thing we hear at OCD SoCal is we'll have people show up to our events, and then, they'll raise their hand in one of the breakouts and they'll share a little bit. And we're like, wow, this is such a great speaker. So we'll approach them and say, hey, are you interested in maybe speaking at one of our events? And they're like, oh, no, I'm still in therapy. And I think there's this belief that, like, being on the board of an affiliate, speaking at an affiliate, you have to be cured and never have OCD again. And that's just not accurate. And, Ethan, I was able to watch, I couldn't watch it live, I apologize, but I did end up watching the day later about your dog attack and stuff. And I love your transparency. And I think I was fortunate that the IOCDF asked me to do an article, and I did it for Kaiser News Health. I mean, COVID has really taken a toll on me because as a therapist, there's been so many different things my clients are struggling with. We're trying to offer stuff with the affiliate, and I'm trying to adjust from living this great life to basically going back to how I lived when I had severe OCD, which was stuck in the house all week, never leaving the home, and only going out camouflage to grab some items and come back. So this kind of belief that you have to be at a cured place to help is just not accurate. And that's what I hear. And like you hinted to, Ethan, it's that black or white thinking. So we've had great speakers. We've had people share their stories on our website, and we've had incredible people. We've had Ethan as a keynote for our conference who are very open about, yes, I've done a lot of treatment, I'm in a great place, and there are still struggles and the tools still work. So I encourage Nikki to give herself more, like you were saying, Ethan, just more props to be able to do what she's doing already, and not thinking that there has to be this finish line you have to hit before you can be an advocate.
Yeah, Dr. Jenny, early on, I was at the McLean. I was the sickest I'd ever been, and I walked in for my very first appointment with him in 2010, and he's like, why are you here? You should go out and help other people. And I'm like, what are you talking about? I'm really sick. I shouldn't be going near anybody else. He's like, no, it's the best thing you can do for your OCD. And I thought he was crazy. And like, it's literally like my mantra. It's what I live by. It is absolutely the greatest thing you can do for your OCD is helping other people. It really is. And it can look like a variety of ways that we've talked about. Micah, I was turning to you. Do you have thoughts on Nikki's comments?
Yeah, I think for me, I can relate to this a lot. Sometimes when you're trying to do advocacy, your OCD does get in the way. Something that has been helpful for me is trying to see advocacy as an opportunity for some exposure work. That has helped me. I know going to the conference in Austin and, joining this affiliate meeting with Tia at the conference last year, that caused me quite a bit of anxiety. I don't know, so that was an exposure for me, and it, also was advocacy. I don't know if Dr. Zazio will remember this or not, but I ran into her in the airport in Austin. And I remember being real nervous to talk to her as a hoarder that watches the show to gain insight. And I thought to myself, well, goodness, if you can't talk to Dr. Zazio about OCD, who can you talk to about it, right? So, taking those times to kind of have a chuckle and use it as a chance to do some exposures. Sometimes it's enough, it's enough to get you to, do the thing that you're trying to do. It's like, well, if this is advocacy, I'm too scared to do it. But if it's an exposure, I guess, and it's weird how the mind can work like that sometimes. So, and at the same time, like others have said, it won't always go well, and show some self-compassion when anxiety does get in the way. But I know for me, sometimes letting advocacy be an exposure in and of itself is helpful.
Thank you, Mike. I appreciate it. I have a bunch of questions, and thank you, Nikki. I always love seeing you here. People are continuing. By the way, if you're on the stream, Jess has done a great job behind the scenes of listing a variety of emails and resources throughout this entire thing, ranging from everybody's emails. We even have the link to the vegan beer if you're into that kind of thing. So please feel free to go through and grab links. She just posted Marnie's link at info at OCDCSFL.org. So we'll make sure that you guys can get in touch with any one of these folks. And as always, we'll give our email out at the end. You can always email us and we can forward any emails out. Before I get to everybody, I want to ask some dreams and goals. I think we're questions, although I would say, I'm going to read this out loud to Tia so I don't forget. D at 8:03 p.m. wrote, I would love to see a group for parents in the USA, especially parents of adults. Right now, I've gone to a Skype group in England. I kind of love that. We've talked about a lot of parent support, but I like as an adult with OCD who had parents that dealt with it, and Chris was in a similar situation. Sounds like Michael was too. I think that's a really great idea. So maybe we can do a parents of adult support group or a town hall or something that can be really interesting.
Ethan, can I just add? My mom and I do a free support group for family members and loved ones, and we have a lot of parents that are part of that. We obviously, it's completely free. It's kind of through the affiliate. Anyone is welcome. So we had about 60 to 70 families showing up each month. We have it at the second Saturday of the month. In California, obviously in person, but since COVID, we've gone virtual. And so I can put my email, or people can email me that, but we've had people that couldn't attend in person because, it was in a location too far, and now we've turned it virtual. And so obviously it's not to replace therapy, but it's a support group for, we have parents of adult children, parents of young children, we have wives, husbands, we have kids who have parents with OCD. So I'll give my email. So maybe for D, they could try joining that until they find something else. But that was important for my mom. She was help running a support group through NAMI. And when that disbanded, we started about 8 years ago. And now we have about 60 to 70 families that come in person each month, and it's completely free. And I think that's a huge component, is making sure that family and loved ones get support. And that's part of the affiliate's mission as well, not just the individual with the disorder, but their wives, their kids, their family members to get support as well.
Thank you so much, Chris. And to tee off D, I'm going to ask our panel a few more questions. But in the meantime, if you also have thoughts and suggestions for any of the panelists, for any of the affiliates, for Tia at the IOCDF or me, of course, please chime in, weigh in, let us know what you'd like to see, what you'd like us to do for you, create for you, and please. So Chris, and I'm going to ask you a sort of random question, but in a perfect world, or let's just say in the next 5 years, what would you like to see the SoCal affiliate be doing? Where would you like to see it be?
I think the big thing that, like I said, I loved our conversation about virtual support, but just much more ground support. One lucky thing that we have is, although we have such a large range, we have our main board, but each different county has sort of like a smaller board that handles the events in that location. And so we have really good representation in Orange County and San Diego County and Los Angeles counties, but we're wanting to expand more leadership in like Riverside, the Inland Empire counties, as well as Bakersfield, et cetera. So getting some more smaller boards in the other areas to provide more in-person events for that location. We definitely want to keep growing our conference. Our conference has been growing about 100 to 200 attendees each year. We got a great venue this year. We are heartbroken, obviously, with COVID not being able to have it, but that's a big thing for us, is to continue to grow the local conference. Another thing that we really are pushing our members is to obviously join the International OCD Foundation. So that's huge for us. Dr. Jenny Yip, who was your guest yesterday, she is really good with, she's kind of one of our heads in Los Angeles, and so she's been good at getting news media and stuff out to our events. So definitely starting to grow it in that sense of getting much more media attention on what we're doing in Southern California. And then lastly, I think a big thing is, like I said, my nephew has autism, and I go to those events and they're jaw dropping, and that's something that Jenny Yip has kind of talked about as well, is just getting our events to be much larger, much more community, more education. We want to build up San Diego. We have a good group out there, but I would just say getting more kind of like local news attention so that more and more people join and keep growing. So that's kind of like the 5-year plan for sure. Definitely, lastly too, is Dr. Yip is also spearheading getting into OGYNs, getting into schools and educating so that we can catch individuals early, like at schools that are struggling, and get them help. I think the biggest thing that our community struggles with is finding proper care, as well as that kind of like 15-year gap it can take from people showing symptoms to treatment. So if we can get into like local counseling centers and schools and other venues and educate them on OCD, it can get diagnosed much sooner, which means they'll get more help.
Thank you, Chris.
Okay, sorry, one last thing. We also have scholarships, so people can join some of our events for free. Most of our events are for free, but our conference, because we provide meals and we provide all these resources, it's only $25 for our conference all day, but we offer scholarships. That'd be another thing, is to start growing the scholarship program and eventually hopefully get scholarships for people to get treatment.
Thank you, Chris. Marnie, what about you? What would you like to see your affiliate in 5 years?
So I would say one of our main goals lately has been to really try to increase our community outreach. We've been doing a lot of CE events and trainings and things like that, which are awesome, and I think they help a lot of people, but I'd like to do more community-focused events that are geared towards parents or adults with OCD, kids with OCD, to connect them to others. So I'd say that's kind of a main thing. We're also trying to do more dissemination and just education. We ran an event earlier this year that was focused on how OCD can prevent in different healthcare settings. So it was geared towards, dermatologists and OBGYNs and different medical fields, so that we could kind of explain how OCD might present in those settings. So really things like that. We're also trying to expand throughout our region. We have a lot of representation in the South Florida region, and then also in the Tampa area. We're looking for a greater presence in Orlando and just some of the other, other cities throughout the state, because we also have a big region, and it's certainly easier to plan things, and we have representation in all the different areas. But yeah,
absolutely. Thank you, Marnie. And Dee, if you're wondering, Chris just put his email address in the thread. So if you want to find out more about the virtual support group for families and those with OCD, please email Chris at that email address. Thank you, Chris, for giving that out. Really appreciate it. I'm just going to drop down to Tia, actually. So Tia, where would you like to see, 2 questions. Where would you like to see the affiliate program in 5 years? I'm guessing all 50 states and all 183 countries. And then also, like, any final thoughts from an IOCDF perspective of what you're seeing a need for, or where you're seeing a need, or anything on the affiliate tip side? Go ahead, take it away.
Yeah, I definitely think, obviously, we're about halfway there state-wise. There are a lot of states, middle of the country, that Mike is spearheading the kind of boots on the ground, getting them up and running. I'd love to see representation there. And then also within affiliates, and I really think kind of the tools that we've learned because of COVID are going to expedite this process. Just there are states like Texas that have 3 kind of chapters in them, but still there's so much Texas and all these physical events, and trying to find representation there. People still don't even know that there is an affiliate in the state. And I think by helping and watching affiliates be able to put on virtual events is going to just expand how many people know about them and get access to them. And, we just the IOCDF has been a guinea pig in this, having to pivot this virtual conference so quickly and learning so much. I'm just looking forward to be able to just push that down and work with affiliates on, here's how you can do it. Here's how you get your Zoom for healthcare. Here's how you get everything set up, and really being able to see people who would otherwise not be able to attend an event or participate be so easily hooked in. And then maybe the next time there is a conference, they make the 4-hour drive or the 3-hour drive and spend a night so that they can be in there in person. Definitely on an affiliate activity level. I think also just what I said earlier, I'm excited to keep building the templates that there are for forming an affiliate. The communication between affiliates, just always trying to add ways in which they can talk to each other. And so that when someone does approach, it is not a 6-month, 1-year process. We can get that turned around as quickly as possible to expedite this. And it's getting better and better. And I'm excited to see it grow even more in the next 5 years with everyone's help.
Thank you, Tia. And just a quick follow-up, we talked about each affiliate being its own nonprofit. And I think really I got my first taste of major affiliate participation with OCD SoCal. And it was actually quite remarkable how much sort of freedom and autonomousness they have. The IOCDF really acts as a support mechanism for them to really operate and do all kinds of cool things on their own. At first, I always thought the IOCDF was more of a governing body and they acted, but really is that the relationship?
Yes, and that's what Jeff Szymanski, our executive director, has always pushed for when the affiliate started, is that we are here to help you get set up. And the basic rule is furthering the mission of the IOCDF on the local level. And we have matching missions, and every idea and activity that an affiliate has brought to us, I want to do this, go do it. And same as before, we take it back. Can we also participate in that? And can we engage with you and take that idea after you've run with it and showcase it on a national scale? But really it's very autonomous. We're here to answer questions. We're here to help troubleshoot. But other than that, it's all different volunteers bringing their own experience and their own wishes for advocacy to the table.
Thank you, Tia. And I'm just going to give a shout out to Tia just because she's behind the scenes so much. But honestly, since I came on board as a spokesperson and we did the road trip and a million things, she has been really unbelievably instrumental and priceless, and just my own advocacy and really collaborating with the IOCDF and the affiliates. So thank you, Tia, for all you do. We really appreciate you for sure. Robin, before I throw the 5-year question to you, quickly, Marion had a quick question. I'll drop it to you as well. What representation do you see as important on an affiliate board? She put, for an example, clinicians needed, or lived experience, or families. Do you see a population breakdown that makes for a better board than another?
I know for me, the biggest, I sort of alluded to this earlier, the biggest struggles we've had is that our board has been made up primarily of professionals. And prior to COVID, everybody's being stretched thin with working families, other responsibilities. And so, part of what we're trying to kind of figure out is, if you are going to be on the board, if you are going to, come on board to help us with advocacy, what does that look like? Obviously, anything that you do would be helpful. But I think the best mix of a board is everybody across the board, meaning clinicians, family members, friends, people who are currently struggling. Like, there's no better way to embrace the process of getting well by being able to talk about your story in real time, where you're at. Like, that is so important. And then individuals like Micah and Chris who have had the journey, and then what comes up kind of after the journey, the relapse prevention stuff. So I think the more spread out your board is, I think you get, it just offers so much more.
Thank you, Robin. Perfect. And then to you, what is your 5-year vision for OCD Sacramento? Where would you like to see the affiliate in 5 years?
Yeah, well, actually, that was a good segue, because just what I talked about in terms of getting a more diverse board is something really that I think it will help us to grow. And reach those goals of advocacy, reducing stigma, connecting to the community, letting them know about resources, that sort of thing. And in terms of connecting with the community, a strong hit for grade school, high school, trying to get that word out early, and colleges. And then I'd say two really important the categories would be organizations that are working with kids on the spectrum. We are getting so many more calls these days with kids that are struggling with OCD behaviors who are on the spectrum. So really kind of trying to get in there and help do some education and advocacy. And then the church. We've started to reach out to various churches. We have so many people who are struggling with themes of morality, scrupulosity. They don't understand it. And really educating not just the pastors, but being able to go in and actually do presentations to those who are attending the church. And we have a couple churches down here have asked us to start to do that, which is super exciting. So, and then, again, just building our ability to do more social media presentations, like these town halls, that sort of thing.
Thank you, Robin. Yvonne just commented, wishing there was a support group for a parent with OCD caring for their autism sensory processing disorder child. I know that there was Peace of Mind recently did an ASD. It was an ASD OCD town hall. We've also got one in the pipeline for, I think, week after next. But also, Yvonne, feel free to email us, and we can try to connect you with some support groups specifically toward that. And thank you, Robin, for your input as always. We're very grateful for you as well. Before I get to Micah, Phyllis just wrote, Chris, you hit on two major needs, education in schools and how we are to receive proper treatment. Eric and I have provided information for the IOCDF website to school counselors and health department staff at our local schools. Too many kids are underdiagnosed or misdiagnosed because of the unfamiliarity with OCD. We have to educate the educators. I think it's also important, and thank you, Phyllis, for doing that. I think it's important to point out the IOCDF and Denise Egan-Stack's program, Anxiety in the Classroom, which is dedicated to that. There's also, we're building out camp and virtual classroom. And I think, Jess, there's a specific website, Phyllis, you may have already used that, but for Anxiety in the Classroom, which we can put in the comment stream. But thank you, Phyllis, appreciate that. Micah. So 5 years from now, I'm going to pose, where would you like to see, yes, there's the link there. Thank you, Jess. Where would you like to see the affiliate, and where would you like to see yourself in 5 years as an advocate?
Yeah, so let me try to throw all this together real fast.
You got 3 minutes, man. 3 minutes.
I just want to second what Phyllis is saying. It's absolutely imperative that we help educators understand what's going on, particularly with something like OCD. When I was in school with OCD behaviors were not only not noticed, they were actually applauded. Because for someone that doesn't know what they're looking at, it looks like you've got a really great student on your hands. And in many ways you do. But, my copious note-taking for anyone that knew what OCD was and the prolific listing, it would have changed my life if even one of my teachers would have said, this is great and your GPA is fine now, but fast forward 10 years without putting this on pause and your life is going to be a mess. So anyway, phenomenal things that Phyllis had to say. As far as where I would like to see OCD Iowa, I want Iowa to become a place where people know what ERP is, they know where to get it, and they're not ashamed or embarrassed to say that they need it. So if we can get more people in our rural communities accomplishing those three things, that would be great. I love the law. I love politics. A real nice bonus would be, I've been talking with some legislators. It would be great to see our legislators find incentives to bring evidence-based therapists to Iowa. We don't have enough of them, and it would be great to see some work there. As far as myself, I guess we'll see, what unfolds in 5 years, but I would hope to be more of a dynamic advocate that I am today, helping people using my experiences and my communication abilities to get as many people help faster than I got it as possible.
Well, thank you, Mike. I can tell you, and I can probably speak for all of us in saying that, the work that you're doing in rural communities and along with others is trend-setting. And it is, you're not trend-setting, you're trailblazing, which is what I meant to say. And, we know Chris trend sets, Micah trailblazes. But in all seriousness, it's so needed in rural communities. We've talked about it, access to care, effective treatment. Look, it's hard enough to find it in metropolitan communities. So you're absolutely right. The double, if not triple stigma that exists in the rural communities and how important it is to get access there, whether it's through tele or virtual therapy, as well as access to support. And so thank you for all that you're doing. Thank you for coming out for the town hall and sharing your story. And we're really excited and to not only see what you do, but continue to support you in any way that we can, and go from there. I think great things will come. So lastly, I want to thank everyone for being here. I want to thank Chris, Marnie, Robin, Tia, and Micah for joining us tonight. I hope you enjoyed this. If you have any comments or questions regarding anything that we talked about, or any questions for anyone here, please don't hesitate to email info@iocdf.org. If you'd like to address it to Marnie, Chris, Micah, Robin, or even Tia, we will be happy to make sure that they get forwarded the email and provide you with a response. We covered a lot of great stuff. Also, please go to the this town hall will live online. Please feel free to check out OCD SoCal's website, Central and South Florida, Sacramento. I'm not sure if Iowa has a website up yet, but he will shortly. So be sure to check out Micah as well, and you can always email Tia. So thank you all so much for joining us. As always, I urge everyone to go through the comments and questions, and as everybody always does a beautiful job of advocating for themselves today, as you have witnessed, my dear. Where are you? Nikki, Nikki wrote after we commented, I really appreciated this tonight. I'm actually not too good in a place at the moment where there's a lot going on for me, as well as OCD and COVID. So I just find that tuning in here makes me feel so much better. I thank you all so much. Great to see you, Robin, and can't wait to meet you to have a warm pint, Ethan. So there you go. But in all seriousness, I think it's a perfect microcosm of an example of when you advocate for yourself and even share vulnerable things, what you get back in return from the community is really beneficial and helpful. And maybe, you feel a little bit more strength than you had before. I know that's how I feel when I put myself out there. And I'm sure I can speak for everybody and the same. Some quick end of housekeeping. This week is Minority Mental Health Month. We have a whole series of special programming that launched yesterday. Next Wednesday at 7 to 8:30 p.m. This channel will be having a topic on being a person of color in the OCD community. Again, that'll be Wednesday at 7 to 8:30. On Thursday, 7 to 8:30, we will be having Moral Scrupulosity Volume 3. That will be our third and final with John Hirschfield and Dr. Patrick McGrath. So that's our next week plans. As always, you can check the IOCDF calendar online to see all the upcoming virtual events. Also, of course, you've seen it all over the internet, social media. Be sure to register for the 3-day virtual online conference. I'll have Jess put the link in the comments, but you can also go to, is it OCDCon? What is the email, the website, Tia?
OnlineOCDconference.org.
OnlineOCDconference.org. We have an amazing 3-day event planned. We have tried to pack as much of the physical conference into the virtual conference as possible. They've worked tirelessly to do some amazing things. I've seen some behind the scenes, and it really is exciting. So please, this is a great opportunity to really take advantage of the conference in a unique way. You don't have to wait for the bathroom or walk to the bathroom. It's right there. That's what I'm looking forward to. So lastly, as always, I want to thank the IOCDF and my digital voodoo partner behind the scene, Jess, for doing all her magic. If you haven't already and you want to be notified about all program the IOCDF is having over the next month, definitely be sure to subscribe and follow on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and Twitter. Until then, thank you so much for spending your Thursday evening with us. And as always, like I said, you can feel free to contact the foundation at info@iocdf.org. I think Chris gets a kick out of watching me do this really quickly. He's smiling. Anyway, have a wonderful day. Have a wonderful day. Stay safe. Stay vigilant. Feel the feels. Don't let OCD off the hook. Again, thank you, Chris, Marnie, Tia, Robin, and Micah. Have a great night. We'll see you soon.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, you guys.